Depression. What is depression? We hear them talk about clinical depression and other types of depression. I'm depressed, he is depressed, I take to social media and I talk about depression. Am I pretending? Am I seeking attention? What is depression? Today, at Walk Tall with Shiba, we are going to go into detail talking to a psychologist and others about what depression is and how to see depression and how to support depression and how to deal with depression. We're situated here at Solani's Lounge, and this is Walk Tall with Shiba. You have so many things happening in your life such that there shouldn't be space and time for depression. But do husbands get a feeling of some of these symptoms, even if they don't last for the 2 months or the 2 weeks? And do you think it happens for men?
I think it definitely happens. I think for men, the society puts a lot of pressure on us, especially when you start adding family to it. So you're expected to be the head of the household. You're expected to keep everything together, but it hardly ever seems to go to plan, if we can call it that.
Yeah.
So you need to be the role model. You need to be the loving husband. At the same time, you've got pressure at work. Work is driving you crazy. Add on top of that the coaching and everything else that I have going on in my life, and it almost feels, if you put a lot of pressure on yourself to make sure that you keep it juggling, as soon as one drops and you start feeling that sense of failure, whether it be in any of them, and you start focusing a little bit on what you feel is missing, and you start the others start dropping a bit, and it can actually, I think it happens, it will be gradual, but there'll be an eventual slide where everything just seems to be going wrong. And when that starts happening, it's very quick. You start looking at yourself, you start blaming yourself, wondering where you went wrong, what you can do better, and you start forcing yourself to be more than what you're actually capable of. As a man, you're not really expected to show any sign of weakness. You can't really ask for help. So you end up putting a lot of pressure on yourself to make things come right. And if you don't ask for help, generally you'll find that there'll just be the slide will just get worse and worse. And it's very easy for yourself to fall into a state where I think depression, for me, it's that sense of failure. And you feel like you could have done better, and you start looking at yourself, and you start picking apart the different pieces of you.
Yeah.
Like you're always doing, and then suddenly you're just doing everything wrong. You can't do anything right. And I think it's a nasty slide from there.
On social media, one thing that I've seen coming up quite a bit, because it happens that you wake up at 3, and as you go onto your Facebook, you find somebody having posted the time that they were up as well. And you find that maybe you have 10, 15 people commenting around the same time. I guess those are some of the things that are happening with insomnia. I don't know, because is insomnia a symptom of depression, or it can happen that you just lose sleep because you are thinking about a deal that you need to close over the next couple of weeks?
Okay. Insomnia is a symptom of depression, but it doesn't mean you have depression. You know, it could be you are dealing, like I mentioned earlier, you're dealing with a lot of stressors, a lot on your mind, and it's keeping you awake.
Okay.
So you find you are awake, the next person is awake. But out of 10 people all awake at the same time, chances are some of those people are very, very depressed.
Right. And can we tell when a person's depressed? Like, I'm a happy person. I like to laugh. And I'm still partying, but when I get to my house, that's when I shut myself off from everything. But when I'm out there, I'm still the life of the party. I'm still friendly. I'm still, playful the same way that I've always been. Like maybe I'm putting up a front. Can that happen?
That can happen where you have someone who's been depressed and you sort of learn how to function while you are carrying this depression.
Mhm.
And that is partly why we always emphasize with families to say, you know what, you should know what's happening with each and every one of us, instead of finding out that, oh, this person has tried to hurt themselves, and it's only then that you know. So communication becomes very much key. Observation becomes very much key. Communication meaning we need to talk in this house.
Yeah.
You know, I need to know what's going on with my brother. I need to know what's going on with mom. I need to know what's going on with my kid. I need to know. So we need to know what's going on with each other. And that's not to say do not allow people space to be by themselves, but you need to know. It is not okay, for example, we all come into this house from work, from school, the other person's in the bedroom, the other one's cooking, the other one's watching TV, we eat and we all retreat to our separate places, and we repeat for the whole week, for the next week, and we don't really know what is happening with each other. And the only time we really sit down and we talk and we find out what's going on is maybe when there's a family function.
Yes.
When we're going somewhere, there's a bride, there's church, there's this. That's the only time that we really communicate with each other, and it's only brief.
And even then, we're not communicating about each other.
About what's going on with us emotionally.
Yeah.
So that doesn't happen in these homes, and that's where you get lost. And people find these other spaces where they can get that. Be it them expressing that on social media, be it that expressing it with a friend they meet somewhere, but they then find these other spaces where they can do that. And you find that in that space, you are not supported. Social media, everyone's going to comment.
Yes, whichever way they want, yes.
Everyone feels empowered to say whatever they want with regard to whatever has been posted there. So you find that is not a supportive space for you. And then you find some people will be very supportive, they'll be very understanding because they've gone through the same thing.
Right.
So there's a lot of communication that's missing in these families. And Dennis highlighted it when he mentioned that, there's these expectations that are upon not just men but women as well. Women are expected to be receptive, men are expected to be the pillars, the core, and to not break and to not have room to be emotional and to, like there's this pressure, as you mentioned, there's this pressure to produce, to always be okay, to always be functional.
Yeah.
And when you are not functional, it's interpreted as weakness. And then you can.
So yes, maybe we can go into that.
Mm-hmm.
Who is likely to get depression? Women, teenage girls, husbands, CEOs, priests?
The one answer to that is everyone.
Okay.
Everyone is at risk of getting depression. But then...
And everyone, you're talking about a 4-year-old as well?
We do have cases of childhood depression. But it's usually someone who's older, maybe from over the ages of 6. You cannot diagnose someone who's less than that.
All right.
As depressed. So we do have cases of children, we do have cases of adults, but there are obviously people who are more likely to get it.
Yes.
Someone who comes from a family that has depression is likely to be depressed. Someone who's living in an environment where there are all of these risk factors. And some of these risk factors that we usually look at is socioeconomic status of that area. If there's poverty in the area, people are likely to get depressed. Someone who abuses substances is likely to be a depressed person. Is likely to be coping with something. And a substance could be the alcohol they're drinking. A substance could be anything that's a narcotic that this person is using. A substance could be your Panados, your grandpa's, because you are taking one every 2 hours.
Every day, yeah.
You're taking one because I have this headache that won't go away. And in spite of you taking that, it's still there. So it is clearly a sign that the Panado is not working. So you have these people who are abusing the substances, and you have people who've had what we refer to as adverse childhood experiences.
Okay.
Someone who's been sexually abused, someone who was physically abused as a child, someone who's experienced a lot of loss as a child, like bereavement overload. You lost your dad, you lost your mom, you lost a cousin, like your support system seems to be fading around.
Yeah.
So if you've had those experiences, chances of depression increase, especially if there's no intervention that happened after each of those experiences. So there's a high likelihood that we are all at risk, but there's those who are more likely to get it.
Thank you very much to the two gentlemen for coming through. This is an ARC Multimedia production of Walk Tour with Shiba. We are on site at the Cigar Lounge at Solani's Lounge in Babane. It has been a very insightful talk. This is Walk Tall with Shiba, the show that seeks to inspire and motivate others. Thank you very much for watching, and please remember to subscribe to the channel on YouTube, Walk Tall with Shiba. Like the Facebook page, Walk Tall with Shiba. You may also see some of these postings. They will be on the Multimedia Eswatini page. We are Solani's, and we have just been talking to Dennis van Rienen and Sfiso Shabangu, the clinical psychologist from Gamanzini. Just before we close, remember, nothing changes if nothing changes. Men, please create a circle and talk your problems out. And to remember, if someone is going through depression, be a supporter, not a fixer. And lastly, if you're going to support, understand that you do not understand. This is Bongani Shiba of Walk Tall with Shiba.